Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with more of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this time on to episode number 7 of season 2. Last time we had a very specially kind of themed episode, which I also I just about managed to release the reaction for just on time too, and I actually especially dressed up for and everything as the Doctor. We had Halloween. We had an episode literally titled Halloween, and it was a very, very Halloween-y type of episode, and everything. And it was really fun. It was a really fun episode. Some kind of minimal kind of involvement from Spike and everything here and there. And then other than that, we had like an episode of the crew being on mandatory Halloween chaperone duty as mandated by Principal Snyder and everything. So yeah, they all dressed up. They all went to the new costume shop run by, what was the name? Ethan Rain and everything. Was it Rain? It was Ethan Rain. So the new costume shop that actually opened in town and everything, which, you know, coincidentally had also made it so that all the kind of Halloween costumes are actually cursed and everything. So yeah, Ethan executed a spell which turned everyone into their costumes, literally live action Simpsons Treehouse of Horror type stuff and everything. So people didn't turn into their costumes so much as they did kind of morph into identities that were pretty much kind of representative of their costumes. So then Xander, in an effort to stop feeling so emasculated, dressed up as a soldier, so then he became an actual soldier. And then Buffy, in an attempt to emulate the young girls from Angel's kind of original time and everything, she dressed up as like a fair lady. I can't remember exactly what she dressed up as, like a fair maiden or like a fair lady of some kind, like back from way back when and everything. So she became more like that. And then I think Willow dressed up as a ghost. Well, dressed up in like a slightly more kind of revealing outfit underneath, but then she covered that up as a ghost thing. But then her kind of, you know, revealing Willow came out and was still visible because she was a ghost and everything. So yeah, so I think that might be the one example then, because I think she literally did turn into a ghost or like an actual corporeal kind of figure that could phase through walls and was, you know, immune to damage and all that kind of stuff. So there was that. And then Cordelia, having actually picked up her costume from like a completely different store in town, she was the only one who actually didn't turn, because then she dressed up as a cat, but then her costume was from elsewhere, so then her costume wasn't cursed the same way everyone else's was. So we had other kids, the actual kids and everything, dressing up as demons and vampires and actual monsters as well and everything. So chaos ensued, and then I think Spike found out, so then he kind of joined in, but then his mission obviously being trying to find the actual Slayer and everything. So yeah, the very last minute, Giles found Rain in the back of his shop and everything, and then destroyed the statue that was emitting the power and everything, and then that kind of cut off the curse. So then Buffy returned to Slayer form and then kicked Spike's ass and everything. So it was a cool episode. So a very, very, very fun story, very fun concept and everything, and a very, very, very kind of fun kind of one-off type thing. Ethan was actually someone from Giles's past too, like someone who actually knew Giles from possibly his younger days or like his earlier Watcher days or something, and then someone who actually knew Giles from his presumably darker days too. He actually accused or at least acknowledged that Giles actually had a past that he actually kept hidden from the kids and from the people of Sunnydale and everything. So, you know, I think that alone actually brought out like a more violent and more physically kind of violent kind of side of Giles that we haven't seen yet. So I think it definitely going to offer like a more backstory of Giles that is yet to be explored. So interesting stuff. So yeah, it ended with them, Buffy and Angel, also actually being able to kind of talk and communicate and actually kind of share their own kind of perspectives and what they want with each other and everything. So it was a nice ending and like a nice episode in that sense too. So all in all, some Halloween-y type fun and some open communication on both ends. So yeah, that was episode number 6. So on to episode number 7. I think there was some other tidbits too. I think Spike actually kind of being maybe as cautious as he's been the last time, because I think he's killed other Slayers. So I think maybe him being as cautious as he's been the other times too, like him sending vampires after Buffy and then actually having another vampire filming them fighting and then studying that footage and actually finding out how she fights and everything. So you know, I think with all this going on, I am kind of anticipating like an actual kind of like a much bigger kind of boss battle compared to Buffy versus the Master. I mean, that being season 1, obviously it was going to be kind of its own kind of basic-ish kind of little thing, but now with Spike coming in and him being built up to be this much bigger kind of concept as a character and everything, I am anticipating kind of big things. So we'll see what the future holds. So yeah, but I mean, this season also is much bigger as well, with with the full kind of 22 episode order and everything. But I don't know if that means it's gonna be one long kind of CW style season, where it's like one season that covers one arc, or if it's actually gonna be split up into 2 different kind of arcs, or like pods, if you will, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. style or something. But I don't know. Either way, I guess we'll find out together. So, or at least I'll find out, and then you guys will, you know, really experience it. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, on to episode 7. Season 2 of Buffy, so let's go. Oh, an empty swing that still moves, that's never a good sign. Never a good sign. Is Mom dead?
Are you lost?
Oh, is it Drusilla? No. Oh no, it's Drusilla.
Just supposed to pick me up as all.
Is he English?
What will your mummy sing when they find your body?
That's a very concerning thing to say to a child.
I'm not supposed to talk to people.
Okay, he's American, this is in Sunnydale, yeah.
Well, I'm not a person, see? So that's just...
Run home.
Angel! Oh, Angel. Ah, damn. The Guardian Angel. The Guardian Angel of Sunnydale. Oh, how fitting. Yeah. Your tricks won't work here, Drusilla.
Hello, Drusilla.
And he knows Drusilla. I mean, he knows Spike, so maybe he might know Drusilla as well.
Your heart stinks of her.
Oh, that's a good line. Oh, she sees Angel with Drusilla. Come on, that can't be a terrible thing, can it?
Oh no, my pet.
That's not okay.
This is just...
It doesn't look great, but come on. First with Cordelia, now with Drusilla. Really? You don't fall for this, Buffy. You're stronger than that. You know him better than that. Maybe, slightly. Come on, you know he wouldn't partner up with anyone to hurt you. I mean, it speaks when the best plan the vampires can come up with is just, you know, come between Buffy and Angel. It's like a powerful plan, but it's also like, wow, okay, so just separate them, just turn them against each other, because then that's how in love with each other they actually are.
The kind that's secret.
Jenny! Jenny's back! I miss Jenny.
All right, I'll put myself in your hands.
That sounds like fun. Okay, tomorrow night.
Damn.
7:30, right?
Still haven't got a bead on why he's here.
You'll figure it out.
Really? Slayer in town? That doesn't seem like an obvious clue. And he's killed Slayers before? I don't know if they know that, though.
I just don't see why everyone's always picking on Marie Antoinette. I can so relate to her. She worked really hard to look that good. And people just don't appreciate that kind of effort. And I know the peasants are all depressed.
God.
I think you mean oppressed.
Whatever. They were cranky.
Yes, wow, that's very interesting.
A classic Cordelia perspective. A classic Cordelia.
Willow, do we have to be in total share mode?
Hey, it's me. If Angel's doing something wrong, I want to know. Because it gives me a happy.
Of course, yeah. The one time Xander would feel good about himself if Angel fucks up.
I'd suggest a box of Oreos dunked in apple juice, but maybe she's...
Oh, who is this? Inside character number 5 billion?
How you been?
Oh,
Ford?
What are you doing here?
Who's Ford? She knows this side character? Personally?
Ford and I went to Henry together in L.A.
Oh, they went to LA, yeah.
I moped over you for months, sitting in my room listening to that divine old song, I Touch Myself. Of course, I had no idea what it was about.
Ah, of course. With a title like that, who would?
You can't touch me, Summers. I know all your darkest secrets.
No, maybe don't.
I'm gonna go get a drink.
Or maybe does he? Is that why he's here now? A new side character is introduced. They have a history with Buffy. Now they know that she's a Slayer or something.
He's not in school, right? He looks older than me.
Really? He does. Oh.
Nothing.
He actually does, yeah. If Buffy was made today, they would make him a high school student. They would absolutely make him play a high school student.
You wanna take a walk?
Sure. That'd be nice.
She sees him with Drusilla. Now he sees her with Fordham.
I left my purse at the Bronze. Could you get it for me?
Okay.
Good. Run. Thanks.
Yeah, run away while she sorts out the vampire stuff. Ford? He turned around very quickly. Okay, well now he sees this. Now he's bearing witness to all of this.
There was a cat. Then there was another cat. And they fought. The cats. And
2 cats. Great big boss battle.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were just slaying a vampire.
What? Wedding a what?
I've been trying to figure out the right time to tell you.
Okay, so he's...
I know you're the slayer.
Okay, so some honesty.
Just like that? He told you?
Some upfront honesty. But why? He's an old flame and he knows how to... And he knows about her secret. Nah, there's something more to this. He's in with Spike. This isn't the bronze. Like a vampire bronze? A gothic bronze?
True believers only.
Is this some kind of underground goth club that really wants to be vampires or something?
A couple more days and we'll get to do the 2 things every American teen should have the chance to do. Die young and stay pretty.
They want to be vampires.
Me who commanded armies hundreds of years.
So getting close to the Slayer is a chance to get close to vampires. So that's why he's here. He wants him in his underground goth club to be turned into vampires.
Well,
I can't. Unless you invite me, I can't.
Oh yeah, she needs to invite.
oh, well, okay, I invite you to.
That's a very explicit word-for-word invitation.
I'm not supposed to have boys in my room.
Girls? Buffy could come over, right?
100 years, just hanging out, feeling guilty. Really honed my brooding skills.
I'm sure. Like a vampiric Batman.
I get jealous. But I know people. And my gut tells me this is a wrong guy.
Can he like hear his heartbeat? Does he have enhanced hearing? Can he hear his heartbeat?
It's probably nothing.
That'd be nice.
So can he come back? Like, is it just a one-time invitation? Does he have to be invited in the next time too, or is it like a one-ticket permanent entry?
We're cafeteria bound.
I'm gonna do work in the computer lab on schoolwork that I have.
Oh,
so
Willow.
I cannot hang just now.
Miss Calendar and I going somewhere tonight.
Somewhere.
The number of her beeper thingy.
Her pager number?
I didn't tell him. He knew.
Oh.
Please tell me that's concerning, Giles. Please tell me that's concerning. Like, how someone else would know that she's a Slayer. Please tell me this. God, he's got the hots for Calendar. Too much of the hots for Calendar to even be aware of that.
Is that more vampires?
Is that a trap? That's to be a
Must
trap.
the weather.
A trap that Billy set up so that him and his people can turn into vampires. Oh, right over the fence.
Tell me what I want to know when I let you go. I killed her and she just turned to dust. It was amazing.
So what did she tell him and what did he want to know?
We're friends of Ford's.
And one of them's an actual vampire. Exactly what you want. Huh.
So are thumbs. Do they stick out? Have you ever seen a thumb and gone, wow, that baby is so...
You have too many thoughts.
Oh, she has some really amazing thoughts sometimes.
Hi.
Wow. Whoa, he's in an actual coffin. Damn, that's commitment.
They are creatures above us. Exalted.
You're a fool. And they're children making up bedtime stories of friendly vampires that comfort themselves in the dark. These people don't know anything about vampires. What they are, how they live, how they dress.
I mean, it's a good look. It's a good look. So, you know.
You could have just said something.
I've always been interested in monster trucks.
Monster
You took
trucks.
him to monster trucks.
I thought it would be a change.
It's a change.
A
You could've
change.
just left.
What, I missed the nitro burning funny cars?
Wonder how he would react to Fast and Furious.
She's called...
Damn,
Drusilla,
oh, it's an old picture of
sometime
Drusilla.
paramour of Spike's. She was killed by an angry mob in Prague.
Prague. So killed by a mob in Prague, and then whoa, who the fuck? Oh, is that the one who attacked thingy Billy?
That's the vampire Ford said he killed.
But then he wanted to know something. That he wanted information.
The bird's dead, Drew. You left it in a cage and you didn't feed it.
That's what she did. She didn't feed it. 2 birds.
This is so cool.
Ford.
I would totally live here.
Do I
Ford.
have anyone on watch here?
I came looking for you, Spike.
God, he knows about everyone. The Slayer, the vampire.
I'm pretty sure this is the part where you take out a watch and say, I've got 30 seconds to convince you not to kill me.
You've seen way too many fucking movies, dude.
I've known you for 2 minutes and I can't stop. Don't really feature you living for. Can I eat him out, love?
I'm offering you a trade.
A
You
trade?
make me a vampire, and I'll give you the Slayer.
He hands over Buffy. Or he leads him straight to her.
And once you've been invited, you could always just walk in.
Can.
He can. Okay. A man of chivalry who also has permanent entry.
I did a lot of unconscionable things when I became a vampire. Drusilla was the worst. She was pure, sweet, chaste.
And you made her a vampire.
He resurrected her.
Killed everybody she loved.
Oh.
Visited every mental torture on her I could devise. I turned her into a demon.
A demon? She's a demon now? Or a demon and a vampire?
When Angel came to my room, he was just really concerned for you, and we didn't want to say anything in case we were wrong.
Angel was in your bedroom?
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Ours is a forbidden love.
Oh, Angel and Willow, that will be the day.
It's just like it played in my head. You know the part where you asked me what's supposed to happen? It's already happening.
What?
They'll be coming.
Ford, if these people are still around when they get here.
We'll be changed. All of us.
No, you'll be
We're going to
slaughtered.
ascend to a new level of consciousness. Become like them.
They couldn't stand forward. They're gonna despise the rest of you.
Only hope you have of surviving this is to get out of this pit right now, and my God, could you have a dorkier outfit?
You gotta back her up, D. You look like a big ninny.
You look like a what's it?
Lucius, bring the car around.
They still drive cars. Oh. Can they not do the bat thing? It would be really fucking funny to see Spike or Angel turning into a bat.
Ford, these people don't deserve to die.
Well, neither do I. But apparently no one took that into consideration because I'm still dying.
Oh, is he terminal or something? Is he just
I got maybe 6 months left, and by then, what they bury won't even look like me.
Cancer?
It'll be bald and shriveled, and it'll smell bad.
That's why he's doing this.
No, I'm not going out that way.
I'm sorry. I had no idea.
Okay, that much you can at least empathize with.
But what you're doing is still very wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You think I need to justify myself to you?
I think this is all part of your little fantasy drama. You tell me how you've suffered, and I feel sorry for you.
You even want to Spike do the whole villain
Well, I
shtick.
do feel sorry for you, and if those vampires come in here and start feeding, I'll kill you myself.
Well, shit. Here we go. Bloodbath Central. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Drusilla. Oh, damn, that's a good jump.
Now you let everybody out, or your girlfriend fits in an ashtray.
Let them go.
He would never do anything that would lose Drusilla. So Spike has an Achilles heel. Oh shit. Okay,
Where's the doorknob?
yeah, can it be open from the outside? Good.
What about my reward?
Oh, Ford. Drain dry.
Nothing's ever simple anymore. The more I know, the more confused I get.
I believe that's called growing up.
Whoa! Is he a vampire now? Oh shit, that was quick. Well, damn. So they did turn him. They did. That was the quickest fucking death I've seen so far. Damn.
What to say?
They're really just moving on, just like that. Yeah. He literally popped up back to undeadness in front of them. And just... dust. Wow. So yeah, I think this episode offered up some interesting topics of discussion to have. I think there's actually one in particular I think I actually do want to talk about. I don't know if it's kind of clear. already, but I'll save that for like in a few minutes time. I get the feeling that like 2 LA schools were mentioned, or like I think she was in LA before this, but I think can't remember if it was 1 or 2 LA schools that she went to that was mentioned before she got to Sunnydale. So the one I remember most significantly because of what happened there is the one where she actually burned down the gymnasium full of vampires. I don't know if it was that one or if it was another one, because I can't remember the name especially. I think this one, I think she mentioned like another school starting with like an H, like harem or like so something with a H. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he was there. I think he was also like an old kind of high school kind of crush of hers and everything that never reciprocated and stuff. So there was that. So yeah, so he returned. I think he didn't really return specifically as like an old flame, but more like an actual old face from her past that she remembered and everything. But he came back with more secrets up his sleeve than we expected. I think the difference with him, I think he was definitely, I think at least partially he was upfront about it. I think he was upfront about everything that he intended to be upfront about, which was his knowledge of there being vampires in Sunnydale and the fact that he'd seen Buffy fighting one and that she was a slayer. So that does kind of lead me to believe that he actually might have had like the kind of the slightest idea about Spike. But you know, he knew about there being vampires in Sunnydale, which could have easily been like even further kind of, because then I think he did mention like his dad got like a new job or like a promotion or something, so then because of that they moved kind of downtown, they moved to Sunnydale. So I don't know like how much of that could be true, or like if the parents were even actually alive or anything, you know, like there was never really kind of like too much of like an actual look into Billy's actual past, besides from him having those school records at Sunnydale. So again, with Principal Snyder in charge, you'd think it would be harder for someone who's not an actual student to walk in and act like they own the place, but no, Billy can just waltz right in and do whatever he wants twice in a fucking row, and do whatever he wants. But yeah, Snyder is nowhere to be found until he has a bone to pick with Buffy and her friends, and until he has an issue to pick, and an issue or like a bone to pick with Buffy or Xander or Xander or Willow or all three of them at once, unless that happens, he's nowhere to be found, and threats can just walk in all willy-nilly into the school. So I don't know what the fuck Principal Snyder's doing out here, but it's definitely not being an actual principal. So yeah, there's that. But so I think that then makes more sense. And like if instead of actually moving down to Sunnydale, like maybe if he himself actually kind of found out about like Buffy and and vampires being him, and maybe he actually studied up on the law and found out what they were and what they could do and exactly how to become one, then maybe then he would see that as like some kind of last resort or last chance for not only a cure to the cancer, but then also like a cure to death overall. It's like a key to eternal, youthful looking kind of eternal life and everything. So I do wonder if it's something that like simple research could show you, that like Buffy is solely, like maybe if you research the Slayer kind of culture and the Slayer cycle and Slayer tradition and everything, you could find out about that. But then I don't know if you could actually find out who the Slayer is exactly, unless you know exactly where to look, who to ask. So then how we came across that information as well, I feel like could have been explained a bit better, because then I think it would kind of show where the actual other cornerstones of information besides from Giles' office are in Sunnydale, and also in the known kind of, you know, BTVS universe, the Buffyverse universe. So yeah, but I don't know, maybe he is kind of, maybe how he found out isn't really as interesting, but I think personally I thought maybe like if we found that out, then maybe it could actually kind of help flesh out the kind of darker corners of the universe a bit more, and actually kind of show that he actually is resourceful, but then the resources that he actually even has at his disposal too could have easily been worth getting to know, but apparently not. Yeah, he had about 6 months left, so he was actually so I'm pretty sure that means he was terminal, but he was suffering from cancer, from brain tumors too. So I think, I mean, brain tumors, I'm pretty sure like that like to my awareness, I think cancer is at least one of the kind of diseases that I know it is caused by and connected to brain tumors. I don't know if there's anything else that could come from that, but and I think even though he described it too, like actually going bald and becoming frail and actually becoming more and more sickly as time goes on, I think that like those are like medical kind of conditions and traits that I've kind of known to be kind of commonly attributed to cancer. So I think I'm guessing cancer is the kind of logical kind of conclusion to come to there. So because I think vampirism is also like a very interesting kind of resort to come to as well. Because I guess it's not completely uncommon for people for someone in that position to actually look for every available option. I think in this universe you probably would come across that. But then the fact that he did is still really intriguing. Because I think makes me question exactly how far he went to look for answers and exactly where he would come across an answer like that. Because then the known world in this people generally don't really think of vampires beyond some kind of fantasy or some kind of urban legend or anything like that. So then it's it feels it would be dark web stuff, or if you really looked in some really dark and really kind of forbidden or mysterious kind of corners of books or libraries or the internet for what they had. I mean, I don't know if the internet for what they had back then would actually have that, but then it feels if you actually kind of asked all there could be cases of people disappearing too, people being kidnapped by vampires or being drained dry and left to rot or something. Maybe he would look in the news or look somewhere, but eventually wherever he looked, he came across vampires. I mean, people still know about them, so I think maybe he wouldn't really kind of question whether or not that thing was really real until he reached something like this. So then he probably kind of he'd probably end up thinking of any other situation where he would actually be able to live forever or beat this and beat cancer and actually be able to be immune to anything else. And then maybe he'd actually think about vampires, but then be oh wait, what if that could actually be real? So then he actually kind of looks into that a bit more specifically, and then he actually comes across answers and stuff. So it was the mixture of it being more than just a fantasy and an actual kind of answer for him to resort to, but then also him kind of being so broiled up in that fantasy allowed him to kind of escape the kind of the ever kind of glooming reality of the fact that he has 6 months left, and if he actually doesn't achieve this by then the ending that he's so afraid of is going to come even quicker. So then he's actually kind of he was obsessed with Spike playing the whole typical villain cliche and everything, and being oh, you got 30 seconds to tell me why you're here or I'm going to kill you, and kind of encouraging that kind of hero versus villain trope between him and Buffy and the vampires, and everything. Him being so wrapped up in that fantasy himself, he kind of him being so wrapped up in a similar kind of fantasy that he so heavily chastised all the people at the club for doing. For him, it was literally a matter of life and death. I think there was a very obvious kind of contrast and an actual difference between him and the people at the club too. But then for him, it was an actual life and death thing. But then for them, it was the clearest of romanticizations, if they're romanticizations, I guess, of that kind of culture and everything. So what he wanted was to live, but then coming to study vampirism and what it meant and what it could do, that then encouraged him to kind of look beyond that, and then he reached the conclusion that he could live forever, look pretty, and look as youthful as he did and everything. He never really confirmed or denied that he was actually ready to deal with the actual harsh reality of being a vampire, but then he was you know what, it's got to be worth it. For him, the worst thing he could imagine was succumbing to the cancer that was killing him, to the tumours that were killing him, and to kind of accept that death as humanly as it was. But then for him, he wanted to actually kind of escape that reality and become something more actually kind of he was a slightly more kind of complex kind of situation that I think he himself actually kind of fought to kind of justify, at least to himself and everything. And I think he kind of knew that no one else kind of would understand exactly why he was doing that in the same ways. I think even Buffy, like he told her, and I think she definitely, it definitely caught her off guard too. It very easily caught her off guard too. She still was logical about it enough to know that no matter how bad or how desperate his reasons were, his actions were not justified in the slightest. So. And then there was the goth club. Oh lord, the goth club. I mean, I call it a goth club. I think it was more like a vampire club than anything else. I don't know why I keep calling it a goth club. I would recognize goth clubs and goth culture at a first glance, but I don't think I actually know or understand goth culture deeply enough to actually speak on it or to explain or anything like that. So I'm gonna leave that to one side for maybe a later date once I've researched or something, or to people who actually know it and understand it better, like goths. But no, this was very specifically a vampire club, because there was a dude I think it was when Angel and Willow and Xander went to visit it. There was a dude, I think dressed as Dracula, or maybe just a vampire in general, looked kind of like Dracula, but then the other most visible kind of thing about him was he was literally he was standing lying back in like an actual coffin. That dude at least had some commitment to it. He actually was ready to take his morning naps in like an actual coffin and everything. So it was that, and there was a girl kind of dressed kind of more kind of, you know, I think no one dressed overtly like vampires, but then they all still wanted to be, and I think they were all kind of still dressed in like a very kind of, you know, in that kind of like a way. I think they weren't all dressed in capes. Like I think the guys weren't all dressed as Count Dracula. The ladies weren't all dressed as Countess Dracula. Then like no one was really dressed as like the depiction of them definitely kind of was kind of obviously displaying like, you know, these are like social outcasts and loners and people who have kind of like people who have most obviously they have romanticized the crap out of vampires and vampire culture and horror culture and everything, and now they want to be a part of it. It's those people. I think I kind of want to avoid saying Tumblr teens, but in a sense, like speaking, I mean, I don't know if I was a Tumblr teen, like, 'cause I first joined Tumblr when I was like 18, so I think if I was like just really late to the party or something, but you know, even Angel's kind of like kind of dialogue being the kind of like actual spot on kind of rebuttal against that, being like, you know, like they look at it in like a certain light, and that light is the light under which they want to live these kinds of lives, but then they don't know the actual kind of harsh reality or the harsh kind of brutality of living as a vampire or actually being a vampire or being turned into one or anything. And like, you know, like Angel, who has lived through this for centuries and actually seen what it does to other people too, he actually knows. And I think for him it got even worse when they returned his soul too, because then he had to live with the actual conscience and the actual weight of his actual conscience and all the stuff he'd done for all the years to come. I think he still, in a sense, he still is. So when people do kind of tell stories about monsters or about creatures or about the supernatural, they usually kind of go in the direction of like hunter. Like I think supernatural kind of follows hunters versus the monsters. Or I think other stories kind of usually kind of go in the direction of like perfectly innocent civilians who then turn into hunters to try and get rid of the problem, or like people who become helpless and aimless kind of victims against it. But then very few stories I think actually explore the actual that kind of deeper kind of like hidden kind of issue of like actual of people who romanticize the monsters without actually realizing what they are, and then actually kind of like then feed and like indulge themselves off of this kind of fantasy and everything. So for the most part, I feel like it's not the most harmful thing in the world until that romanticization like turns into an obsession that then pushes them to kind of like explore it more than is good for their health or good or kind of just good for themselves in general. So anything that people can romanticize, they will, and then anything people can indulge in and obsess over, they will, and it'll kind of turn into its own thing if it's given the kind of environment and if it's given the kind of necessary kind of energy to do so and everything. So to see even touched upon in the way that it was in this, the way that it was displayed here is how it was back then compared to how it is now, but then now it could be even worse, or now it could be even more thorough, or even more prevalent or something. But either way, it was a good thing to actually touch on and a good thing to explore. So they were bitten, but then there's no evidence of them like actually having traded blood, like Spike and his vampires actually kind of having traded blood with them. So I don't know if they're going to come back as vampires like Thor did, or if they're just going to need medical attention and actually kind of need to be given bags of blood to replace what was lost or something. So it would be kind of cool if they actually did bring them back, but then bring them back as really kind of tiresome and really struggling vampires. Like maybe like actually bring them back, but then continue the story in a way that actually kind of puts them through their paces and actually shows them the harsh reality of being a vampire, and actually kind of shows them like that what they obsessed over and what they romanticized all these years was not even close to the truth that they're having to deal with now. So if they want to bring them back as actual vampires that are struggling with their condition, and maybe even vampires that Angel himself has to watch over, actually kind of like I mean, I don't know if he would like as then I think for him it would be more of a case of like, you know, I warned you that this is the reality behind being a vampire, but then you didn't want to listen. You just want to be stuck in your own little kind of bubble of being youthful and pretty and powerful. And for back then, they don't have Twilight. They only really have vampire movies and Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is arguably a better novel than Twilight is, arguably a better kind of vampire story, like a classic kind of vampire story than Twilight. I think Twilight is like a very, very divisive story, and it's a divisive story with a very, very kind of definitive fandom. I feel like the actual Twilight fandom, people aren't really kind of divided. Like the fandom itself isn't really kind of divided on whether or not it's actually kind of good or bad or the great or But yeah, I think for back then, they have no Twilight, so I think they their fantasies and everything are simply running off of any movies they've seen and any other kind of stories they've read or anything, be it Dracula or something else. So I was personally so convinced that they, especially in the wake of like their failure to actually fully capture Buffy and everything, I was so sure that, you know, Spike wouldn't take any chances and would just tear this kid apart and drain him dry and all that kind of stuff. But no, I think maybe Spike would probably still know that, like, oh, he like, I think even when he comes back, he'll be like a really basic vampire with little to no idea of how to control it or how to really be a vampire or anything. So Buffy will likely be able to take him out, no, so, but then he probably kind of still see some kind of fun in the idea of actually leaving her, like a little ambush trap in, actually believing that her friend is fully gone, dead and drained and all that kind of stuff. But then no, at the last minute, he literally does actually kind of pop back up out of his grave and then gets dusted. But then I think the beauty of that scene, just like, it's just like, I actually don't even know if I should call it a pacing issue, because it's literally just like a one and done thing. Like he pops out, he jumps, he roars a little bit, like it's 2 seconds. It's literally 2, maybe 3 seconds at a push. Like he jumps out, he pops out, he roars out, then one swift stake in the chest, and then they're like both Giles and Buffy are moving on like nothing else. I think originally I was thinking like maybe like how quick his death was is really kind of like how little his kind of his last resort really kind of actually lasted, like for him being a vampire and actually kind of outliving the cancer and everything and becoming immune to it all was really his last resort. But then him being a vampire would still be dangerous, and for him, I think maybe even deep down, I think Buffy even realized that he still deserved better. Like after everything he did, he still kind of deserved better than that. So then, because of that, put him out of his misery, but then also actually take out another vampire who was also still technically turned by Spike as well. So again, that death was just so quick and clean and beautiful, and it just still it really didn't fuck with the pacing at all, because then Buffy and Giles were still able to continue their emotional kind of story. They're kind of really kind of serene and peaceful kind of dialogue about like life and its troubles and their problems and everything, without too much kind of, you know, hesitation or kind of any kind of stutter. So it really worked in that sense. So yeah. We know that in the present day, Drusilla is obviously kind of very well connected and very well attached to Spike and everything as well. So it makes sense that Drusilla might at least have like an actual footnote in his kind of biography or something. So yeah, I think that was a very. I don't know what it is. I think I actually love that picture of Drusilla, because I think something to do with the fact that it was a picture from back then, like the actual quality, the age, and the kind of the fact that it's a picture that's aged well to like the picture itself, and the fact that it's like taken from all those years back and stuff, and pictures that you can hold. I don't know how to explain it. I just love pictures like that. So, you know, seeing a picture of Drusilla like that, like a picture taken way back when, way back then rather, and like a picture taken of Drusilla, likely when she was alive too. A picture taken when she was alive, because then she has no reflection. She's a vampire. She has no reflection. So then a picture like that would stand to mean so much more for who she was compared to who she is now too. So I need to double check it. I'm pretty sure Prague is in Italy. But just to be safe, I'm gonna double check it, because I really don't want to be wrong on that.
1 hour later.
Wow, I could not have been more wrong. I don't know why Prague sounded like it would be in Italy. No, Prague is the capital of the Czech Republic. I could not have been. I don't know if I could have been more wrong. I don't know if the Czech Republic is anywhere really close to Italy. Prague, to me, Prague sounds like somewhere in Italy. I don't know if I'm thinking of somewhere else. I've heard of Prague before. I've definitely kind of heard of Prague, and I think nowadays I associate Prague to be more with fashion. Or is that Prada? No, I'm pretty sure it's Prague. I think Prague still is like an actual fashion. Is Prague a fashion hotspot? I think Mozart lived there. The Prague Symphony. I think I'm thinking of Prada. I think Prada is what I'm thinking of. I think Prada is like an actual fashion line and everything. So, isn't it? I'm thinking of words and I'm attaching my own kind of awareness of knowledge and information to them, and I'm just hoping it sticks. I'm literally throwing stuff to the wall and hoping it sticks right now. I don't know. I thought Prada. Let me Google Prada too quickly, very very quickly. Prada is a company. Prada is an actual fashion company. So yeah, Prada is. So yeah, I think I might have been thinking of Prada. But then I don't know why I thought Prague was in Italy. I really don't know where that came from. I think Prague, to me, I think I think it always I think I just maybe assumed it was Italian, or maybe just assumed it was close to Italy somehow, but I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, so Prague, yeah, capital of the Czech Republic, so there's that. You learn something new every day. So then I thought, oh, maybe then she would have been resurrected by Spike, because then Spike clearly kind of has like like an actual hold on her, and he has like an attachment to her, and she's attached to him. So maybe then it's because he resurrected her and turned her, and she's been with him ever since. But no, it was Angel. Angel was the one who actually turned her. He resurrected her. I think he said he fell in love with her. I think he became infatuated with her, and he became obsessed with her and everything. So I think maybe that happened while she was human, but then she died, and then he couldn't really kind of take that kind of a loss. So then maybe he resurrected her. He said he turned her, but then she went insane and killed everyone she ever loved and everything, and just went on a killing spree, and was almost as insane as him for a few years before she joined a convent, and then went through her holy orders. But then when she did her holy orders, I think he said he turned her into a demon. So I don't know if that's like being metaphorical or being something else, because then being a demon, I think is the way I know it, it's having your soul corrupted. So then maybe her soul is corrupted. So then because of that, it kind of worked in reverse for them. So like for him, the Romani tribe that actually kind of found that imprisoned him restored his soul. But then when he was with her, he actually corrupted her soul. And I think maybe in an effort to make her kind of more evil. Because then I think all of that could have very easily taken place during his darker years. So then maybe then like he saw how evil she could be as a vampire, and then wanted to kind of double up on that. So then maybe he actually turned her into a demon to make her even worse and everything. So then that is something that pairs very well and very easily and very well with Spike. So what I can't remember what his name was, not Makira, the demon from I, Robot You, Jane. Pretty sure that was a demon. I think that one actually had horns and like different skin and actually looked like a demon. So I mean, demons could also very easily look like almost anything in this universe. So there's probably no telling. Maybe some demons could be like a purely like an internal thing where you have no soul, or like a corrupted soul, and that kind of like amplifies your actions in like a more evil way. So it could very easily be that. So what the Romani tribe did to Angel was definitely a holy ritual and like an actual religious ritual to restore a soul too. Her being in a convent and like him, Angel, to taking part in her holy orders to do that too could easily be like an actual kind of a paralleling thing where it's like on Angel's end he gets his soul restored, but then on Drusilla's end he helps in actually taking away her soul or corrupting it somehow through incantation. So yeah, I think that then brings up the kind of interesting, because I think Angel actually admitting that he actually was obsessed with Drusilla as well, like obsessed, infatuated with, in love with. I think all those kind of words can be kind of used somewhat interchangeably. I think him admitting that kind of goes to show that he does have the capacity for love, and maybe even more so with the soul. But then this this thing with Drusilla also happened when he didn't have a soul and when he was a vampire. So with that one, he actually was attracted to a human in a way that he didn't kill her until she already died by human causes. So then because of that, he actually reserved his own hunger and his own bloodlust and his own power until he wanted to resurrect a human to be just like him and everything. Because I think even with Dracula, I think Dracula still had a bride that he actually turned into himself. So then I wonder then maybe if it's a case of like he was always intending to turn her, but then he was waiting for the right time, or but then he got sidetracked when the right time came too early, and she was killed by her own species, and then he had to turn her into one of him or something. So does make me wonder, like, maybe if the obsession that he had with her was reciprocated, like maybe because we already see how she is with Spike, and like how attached and how close she is with Spike. So then I wonder maybe if I think, and we've seen that kind of like a really similar thing happening with Angel in the opening too. So then. But then that makes you wonder, like, if that was still the case, being reciprocated when she was alive and when she was human. Because then, if it was, then I can't help but wonder, like, maybe if it was like if it was a case of like she saw him and she saw him being all evil and bad and vampire-y, but then she was like, you know what, I can fix him. like, yeah, I really wonder if she was one of those girls, like one of those oh, he's broken but I can fix him kind of girls, like even for back then, like her seeing him probably thinking he's a bad boy, maybe even if by some chance she did discover the truth, maybe being like, you know what, I don't care, we can be together forever, we can be one and all, and I can still fix you somehow, like being one of those girls, especially with romanticization being like an actual kind of heavily kind of involved concept, to tie it in with that mindset too. I really kind of can't help but wonder if Drusilla could have been one of those girls. So if that is the case, then, well, then damn. But yeah, I mean, either way, I think it does definitely kind of like actually lay out like an actual kind of interesting looking path for what Drusilla's kind of history would have been like with both Angel and Spike, and then of course Spike kind of later being sired by Angel having sired Spike. I think you know, don't know if that's like if that's the word he's using in exchange for Turner. I think sired was never used to describe Darla, but I don't know if that's because they decided not to use that, or if they just haven't used it yet. But then I think Angel definitely sired Spike. So then with that in mind, I think wonder maybe if with Spike is a similar story, like maybe if he died and then Angel brought him back, or maybe if Angel turned him on the spot or something. So don't know if that's already been mentioned before, or if that's actually yet to be explored. But either way, it did. I think now we have like a whole new kind of triangular kind of history here, like history kind of being laid out in front of us with both Spike and Angel and Drusilla. And honestly, I'm not really sure, like for how much of season 1 we kind of we could have known that, or at least like for how much of the show that we could have known that Darla and the Master would be around for, but before finding out that they both die in season 1. But with this one, you know, I guess I'm looking forward to it in the same extent so far, because then I think don't know exactly like how much of Buffy, like how much of the show Drusilla and Spike will be in for, but then they seem like slightly more interesting characters with slightly more to offer than the Master and Darla did. But maybe that's because now with this new season they actually have more going for them, and more of a plan set out for them and everything, so then they have more time and space to occupy with these characters and their storylines. So, and I think, yeah, Buffy, I think, did definitely seem to be kind of experiencing, I think, especially like her line to Giles about, like, you know, like, I don't know who to love, I don't know who to hate, I don't know who to trust, because then she didn't know it, she didn't know exactly how much she loved Angel without being able to trust him fully. She didn't know how to feel about Xander and Willow working with Angel behind her back and everything, to actually investigate to investigate an old friend of hers, no less, and everything. She didn't know exactly who to trust with Ford coming back into her life only to lie about this, and to know that she's a slayer and the vampires exist, and to use that against her, and actually to use her for his own bidding and everything as well. So there's just like so much actual emotional kind of like compromise going on in this episode that really begins to actually kind of take a toll on her, to take a toll on her, that it's like, you know, even as she described it, it's like the more she begins to find out, the more she starts to question, the more confused she gets and everything. So I think they're trying to find ways to explore tension and to explore kind of obstacles in Buffy and Angel's path to being together. It does so far seem like a somewhat of a balance between bringing other people into it, and also like having them kind of talk back and forth about like their history and their past and everything. I think even Angel actually mentioning this time like how he's done some stuff that he's super duper not proud of in his past, and actually having his soul restored actually makes that makes his kind of awareness and his perception of his past even worse and everything. So he doesn't know how he could live how he can live with himself, let alone someone else, knowing he's done all that. But then I think it being Buffy kind of does make it all the more complex, because then that's someone that's someone who should be trying to kill him but then isn't, and it's someone who's actually connected to him, and someone he's actually finding himself all the more kind of, you know, attracted to, and actually their paths kind of keep crossing in the most kind of conflicting and in the most kind of like conflicting yet affectionate ways and everything, and it kind of puts them both at odds. If they are doing slow burn, then I guess I'm kind of seeing that kind of at first glance and everything. So if they are doing slow burn, then by all means, I think I've always kind of enjoyed slow burn for what it is, and for what it can do for characters and for a good story. So yeah, if it is slow burn, then bring it on very, very slowly. So with Buffy especially being the the title character, I think it does seem to be kind of offering her like an actual kind of fair amount of like emotional challenges and emotional kind of obstacles to have to deal with, that hopefully help her grow and help her kind of come to terms with herself and what she wants with the people in her life and everything. So yeah, it should be an interesting watch in that sense too. Yeah, that was Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2 episode number 7. So thank you guys as always so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming, and what you're looking forward to in the coming episodes of this season and everything, and any kind of thoughts and feelings you have on this and all the kind of topics and stuff that you explored in this episode. For those interested, the full-length reaction will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So until the next time, bye bye for now.